For the past 11 years, I have been tracking commodity futures and agricultural yield data before most people even knew those reports were public. While everyone is panic buying canned soup and rice when prices spike, I quietly stock items that almost nobody connects to harvest reports. Number 14 is sitting at your local ethnic grocery right now for under $4. And when I tell you what it is, you're going to kick yourself for not thinking of it sooner. The problem is that when everyone reads the same prepper blogs and watches the same mainstream survival channels, they all buy the exact same 12 things. And that is exactly what disappears first. Back in March 2022, I watched olive oil shelves get cleared in 2 days. But the oil I have been stockpiling for 18 months, still fully stocked, still cheap, and honestly, better for long-term storage. If you are not subscribed, do that now, because what I am about to share does not show up in anyone else's grocery haul videos. Let me start with something that sounds boring, but is absolute gold. Number 1 is ghee, not butter. Ghee. Before you think this is some trendy wellness thing, hear me out. Ghee is clarified butter with all the milk solids removed, which means it does not need refrigeration. I have jars in my pantry that are 4 years old. Opened. Still perfect. Here is what nobody talks about. Butter prices are directly tied to dairy commodity reports, and the 2026 forecasts are predicting a 15% drop in butterfat yield due to feed cost increases. That means butter doubles. But ghee? It flies under the radar because most Americans have never bought it. I learned this from a guy who has been importing ghee for 19 years. He told me that during every shortage, butter vanishes. Ghee sits untouched. Last winter, I used ghee for everything. Cooking, baking, even coffee. Your body needs fat. Not wants. Needs. A 32-ounce jar costs you around $13 at any Indian grocery. Meanwhile, preppers are spending $60 on freeze-dried butter powder that tastes like plastic. Here is what I do. I buy 6 jars every 2 months. Rotate them. Use the oldest first. And here's the kicker. Most people walking past in the store have no idea what it even is. That is your advantage. Number 2 is going to sound weird. Tapioca starch. Not flour. Starch. This is not the same as tapioca pearls for bubble tea. This is pure starch, and it is an insane thickening agent that lasts longer than you or I will be alive. I opened a bag from 2019 last month. Bone dry. Zero clumping. Still works perfectly. Here is the insight nobody knows. Tapioca is harvested primarily in Thailand and Brazil, and both regions are forecasting water shortages that will cut yields by 20% starting late 2025. The reports are public. Nobody is reading them. A 1-pound bag costs $2 at any Asian market. I have used it to thicken soups, make gravies, even bake gluten-free bread when wheat prices spiked. Food monotony causes decision fatigue. Boring food makes you stupid when you need to be smart most. Tapioca starch gives you variety without the cost. And here's the best part. It is invisible. Nobody fights over it because nobody knows it exists. Look, food prices are rising faster than most people can track. I have done the math for you and put together a free pantry priority guide that lists the exact items you must grab before the next commodity report drops. It will carry your household for 3 weeks and costs less than 2 takeout orders. You can grab it for free at the link in the description, so you can stop guessing and start actually stocking smart. Number 3 is coconut milk powder. Not canned coconut milk. Powder. I know this sounds like a downgrade. Stay with me. Canned coconut milk has a shelf life of about 2 years if you are lucky. The powder? Decades in a sealed bucket with an oxygen absorber. I mix 2 tablespoons into hot water and get the exact same thing as a can, but I control the consistency. Coconut production is tied to monsoon cycles in Southeast Asia, and the 2026 models are predicting delayed rains that will cut harvest by 18%. A 1-pound bag of coconut milk powder costs around $9 and replaces 20 cans. Do the math. I have used it in curries, smoothies, even as a coffee creamer during a power outage last February when I had no refrigeration. Most preppers have never heard of this, which means it is always in stock. Number 4 is dried shiitake mushrooms. This one blew my mind when I figured it out. Shiitakes have more umami per ounce than almost any other food. That means flavor. Deep, rich, satisfying flavor that makes cheap rice and beans taste like an actual meal. A 5-ounce bag costs about $6 at any Asian grocery. I rehydrate them in warm water for 20 minutes, slice them up, toss them into whatever I am cooking. The leftover water? That is liquid gold. It is mushroom stock. I use it as a soup base. Shiitake production is heavily concentrated in China and Japan, and both countries are dealing with labor shortages and rising costs. The wholesale price has already climbed 11% since last year, but retail? Still cheap. For now, here's what I do. I buy 10 bags at a time, vacuum seal them, store them in a cool, dark closet. They last indefinitely. Number 5 is nutritional yeast. Before you click away thinking this is vegan hippie food, hear me out. Nutritional yeast is a complete protein, loaded with B vitamins, and it tastes like cheese. I am not exaggerating. I have used it to make mac and cheese sauce with zero dairy. My kids had no idea. It is grown on molasses, and molasses production is tied to sugarcane yields. The 2026 reports are forecasting a 12% drop in sugarcane due to soil depletion in Brazil and India. A 1-pound bag costs $8 and lasts 6 months in my house. I sprinkle it on popcorn, mix it into scrambled eggs, stir it into soups. And here's the kicker. It is sitting on the shelf at every health food store right now, and nobody is buying it in bulk. Number 6 is miso paste. This is fermented soybean paste, and it is one of the most nutrient-dense foods you can store. A single tablespoon has more probiotics than most supplements. I have a tub in my fridge that is 3 years old. Still good. Miso does not spoil if you handle it right. Soybean prices are directly tied to harvest reports, and the USDA is predicting soybean yields will drop 14% in 2026 due to rotating crop failures in the Midwest. A 1-pound tub of miso costs around $7 at any Asian market. I dissolve a tablespoon in hot water for instant soup. I use it as a marinade. I even mix it into salad dressing. The problem is that when everyone buys the same pandemic pantry staples, miso is not even on the list. That is exactly why it works. Number 7 is anchovy paste. I know how this sounds. Stick with me. Anchovy paste is pure umami in a tube. A tiny squeeze adds massive depth to sauces, stews, anything savory. You do not taste fish. You taste richness. I learned this from an Italian chef who has been cooking for 32 years. He told me he has never made a tomato sauce without it. A tube costs around $4 and lasts months in the fridge. Anchovy fisheries are collapsing due to ocean temperature changes. The 2026 reports are predicting a 23% reduction in global anchovy catch. Meanwhile, it is sitting in the pasta aisle and nobody touches it. Number 8 is dried lentils. Not canned, dried. I know lentils sound basic, but here is what most people miss. Red lentils cook in 15 minutes with no soaking. 15 minutes. That is faster than pasta. They are pure protein. They store for 30 years in a sealed bucket, and a 5-pound bag costs around $6. Lentil yields in Canada and India are forecasted to drop 17% due to drought cycles starting mid-2025. I cook them with coconut milk powder, add some ghee and spices, and I have a meal that costs about 90 cents and tastes better than anything freeze-dried. Number 9 is rice vinegar. Not regular vinegar. Rice vinegar. It is milder, slightly sweet, and it transforms boring food. I use it to make quick pickles, salad dressings, marinades. A bottle costs $3 and lasts forever. Rice vinegar production is tied to rice harvests, and the forecast for 2026 are predicting an 11% drop in Southeast Asian rice yields due to irregular flooding. It is sitting at every grocery store right now. Nobody is stocking it. Number 10 is sesame oil. Not the stuff in the regular oil aisle. Toasted sesame oil from the Asian section. A tiny drizzle adds insane flavor. I am talking restaurant-level flavor. A bottle costs around $6 and lasts 6 months because you use so little. Sesame crops are tied to water availability in Africa and India, and both regions are forecasting severe shortages. The wholesale price has already jumped 9%. Retail has not caught up yet. Number 11 is dried seaweed sheets. Nori, the stuff used for sushi. Just one sheet contains more iodine than most people get in an entire week. Your thyroid needs iodine. A 10-pack costs around $4. I tear them into strips and toss them into soups, or I toast them over a flame for 30 seconds and eat them as a snack. Seaweed farming is being hit by ocean acidification. The yields are dropping. Nobody is connecting the dots yet. Number 12 is potato starch, not potato flakes. Starch. It is a thickener, a binder, and it stores indefinitely. A 1-pound bag costs $2. Potato crops are forecasted to drop 13% in 2026 due to late blight and soil exhaustion in Europe. I use it exactly like tapioca starch. It is invisible. It is cheap. It is always in stock. Number 13 is dried chickpeas, not canned. A 2-pound bag costs $3 and replaces 12 cans. Chickpea yields are tied to water availability in India and Turkey, and both are forecasting major shortages. I soak them overnight, pressure cook them for 20 minutes, and I have the base for hummus, stews, curries. Canned chickpeas will double. Dried will not, because most people do not want to soak anything. Number 14 is fish sauce. This is the one I mentioned at the start. A bottle costs $3 at any Asian grocery. A few drops add massive umami to anything savory. Fish sauce production is tied to anchovy fisheries, which are collapsing. I have a bottle that is 2 years old. Still perfect. Most Americans have never bought it. That is your edge. Number 15 is dried mushrooms. Any variety. Porcini, shiitake with ear. They all rehydrate and add massive flavor. A small bag costs around $7. Mushroom production is labor-intensive and costs are rising globally. Nobody is panic buying dried mushrooms. Number 16 is coconut oil. Not for cooking, for storage. It is solid at room temperature, lasts years, and you can use it for cooking, skincare, even first aid. A jar costs around $10. Coconut yield are dropping due to aging trees and delayed replanting in the Philippines and Indonesia. Number 17 is whole spices, not ground. Whole. Cumin seeds, coriander seeds, black peppercorns. They last decades. Ground spices lose potency in months. A small bag of whole cumin costs $2. Spice yield are tied to specific climate windows. Those windows are shrinking. Number 18 is dried beans. Any variety. Black, pinto, kidney. They store for 30 years and cost about $1 per pound. Bean yields are forecasted to drop due to inconsistent rainfall patterns across Central and South America. Number 19 is masa harina. It is corn flour treated with lime. It makes tortillas, tamales, and it stores forever. A 2-pound bag costs $4. Corn yields are forecasted to drop due to heat stress. Number 20 is canned tomato paste. Not sauce. Paste. It is concentrated, lasts years, and a tiny amount goes far. A small can cost under $2. Tomato yields are dropping globally due to water shortages. Number 21 is dried chili peppers. Whole dried chilies. They add heat, flavor, and they last forever. A bag costs $3. Chili production is tied to specific growing regions that are seeing yield drops. Number 22 is coconut sugar. It is lower glycemic than cane sugar and stores indefinitely. A bag costs around $6. Coconut production is forecasted to drop, and sugar is always one of the first commodities to spike. Starting with fats, number 1 ghee is highlighted as superior, shelf-stable alternative to butter, whose dairy commodity reports predict a 15% yield drop in 2026. Ghee, being clarified butter, has an open shelf life of years without refrigeration and flies under the radar of typical shoppers. Next, the document moves into thickening agents and starches, noting number 2, tapioca starch, and number 12, potato starch, both of which store indefinitely and are sourced from regions facing water and blight issues, respectively. Tapioca, harvested in Thailand and Brazil, is anticipating a 20% yield cut due to water shortages. These pure starches are crucial for adding variety and texture to monotonous storage meals. Variety and flavor are addressed by several items. Number 3 is coconut milk powder, which offers decades of storage life, replacing 20 cans of liquid milk with a single bag and mitigating the risk of delayed monsoons in Southeast Asia, which are forecasted to cut harvest by 18%. Number 4, dried shiitake mushrooms. Provides massive umami flavor to elevate cheap meals like rice and beans, and their wholesale price has already increased 11% due to labor shortages in China and Japan. Similarly, number 7, anchovy paste, and number 14, fish sauce, both sourced from collapsing anchovy fisheries, provide concentrated, non-fishy umami richness for sauces and stews. These items are ignored in the pasta aisle or ethnic section, making them easy to acquire in bulk. The flavor theme continues with number 5, nutritional yeast, a cheese-flavored complete protein packed with B vitamins, whose production is tied to sugarcane yields forecasted to drop 12%. Number 6, miso paste, is a probiotic powerhouse that stores indefinitely in the fridge, offering instant soup and marinade bases, despite the 14% forecasted drop in U.S. soybean yields. Staples are covered with an emphasis on rapid preparation and extreme shelf life. Number 8, dried red lentils. Cook in 15 minutes without soaking and provide pure protein for 30 years, beating pasta in speed and storage, while lentil yields in Canada and India are set to drop 17%. This is paired with number 13, dried chickpeas, which, unlike the canned version, remain cheap because they require soaking, a hurdle most consumers avoid. Storage oils and flavor accents include number 10, toasted sesame oil, a high-impact flavored drizzle whose source regions in Africa and India face severe water shortages, and number 16, coconut oil, used not just for cooking but for skincare and first aid, with coconut yields dropping in major producers. The document then addresses preservation and micronutrients. Number 9, rice vinegar, is a milder preservative essential for quick pickles and dressings, tied to Southeast Asian rice yields facing 11% drop. Number 11, dried seaweed sheets, nori, provides a crucial source of iodine, a necessary nutrient for thyroid health, at a time when ocean acidification is reducing seaweed yields. Number 17 stresses the superiority of whole spices, cumin, coriander, peppercorns, over ground, lasting decades longer and maintaining potency. Final staples round out the list. Number 18, dried beans, black pinto, a 30-year storage staple. Number 19, masa harina, a versatile corn flour for tortillas. Number 20, concentrated canned tomato paste. Number 21, whole dried chili peppers for heat and flavor. And number 22, coconut sugar, a low glycemic sweetener that is guaranteed to spike as coconut harvests drop. The entire strategy is a counterintuitive playbook to build a deep, diverse, and flavor-rich pantry by capitalizing on market inefficiencies and information gaps, ensuring a stock supply of essentials that others overlook. While everyone else is fighting over the same 10 items, desperately watching for the next shipment of dried milk or canned chicken to hit the shelf, you now have 22 items that are demonstrably cheaper, infinitely easier to store, and most importantly, will actually still be available when the mainstream options vanish. You are no longer reacting to headlines. You are moving based on data that was public long before the panic started. You have exchanged a scarcity mindset for a strategy based on abundance, an abundance of knowledge, flavor, and time. This is not just stocking food. It is hedging against global instability with items that appreciate in value the moment commodity futures reports are realized. You can walk into an ethnic grocery, bypass the chaos, and secure a significant portion of your long-term security for a fraction of the cost your neighbors are paying for inferior, short-lived products. This is the difference between surviving on bland desperation rations and thriving with nutrient-dense, flavorful meals that keep morale high. Drop a comment telling me which of these game-changing items you are stocking first, the one commodity secret you're going to grab before the shelves clear. Next week, I am pulling the curtain back on the 7 tools everyone thinks are survival essentials, but are actually useless pieces of junk in a real collapse scenario. The items that suck up your precious storage space and cash for zero return. You do not want to miss that analysis of what to ditch from your gear bag. While everyone else is fighting over the same 10 items, you now know 22 that are cheaper, easier to store, and will actually still be available. Drop a comment telling me which of these you are stocking first. Next week, I am revealing the 7 tools everyone thinks are survival essentials, but are actually useless in a real collapse scenario. You do not want to miss that one.